I entered this trade when we rejected off that 38 level, 38.75. You can see the blue line there. And I'm going to enter one more set of contracts when this candle closes. I was really looking for it to kind of bounce up to the top of that volume node on the 5-minute chart. But the delta started rolling over. It looked right. So I go ahead and enter another set. And I'm trying to get at least to that POC. But what I was thinking is that we would, the big plan was to get back to the VWAP. But, I'm well aware that this is kind of definitely a fade, because we're trying to get, my idea was that they're trying to get to that 550. And so as we're pulling back here, I mean to only take one contract off at this POC, but I end up taking two right there. Now in these last two, I want to see when it gets down to that red line, which is the low from yesterday. We had reclaimed that. So I wanted to see what type of price action we got around that. You can see how close it is to taking me out here. But right in here, when we hit this, if it drops below it, pops back above it, then I'd pretty much want to be out of this. But instead I bring one contract down, or I bring the stop down real nice and tight. And it does end up clipping this order. So that's basically exactly what I wanted to do. Because if it would have pushed through there, then I would have just kept bringing the stop down. But because it took me out, I'm fine with that, because that was playing into that idea that they might basically right from here start pushing it higher. So now I'm down to just the one because I made the mistake of taking two at the POC. So I'm going to try and let this one play out and see if, because that delta is still rolling over, we're getting a little bit more volume. And like I said, my initial plan was getting back to VWAP. And then you had, even if it really let go, you'd have like the 5,500 level. But I was just focusing on the VWAP area. So as we broke that low again, I'm bringing that stop down. Same thing. I'm protecting myself if we get a big rip out of this, if it bounces out of here really hard. And then I just kind of keep walking it down with a stop, trying to get to that VWAP area. So like I said, unfortunately, I took the two at that POC. So that was kind of a short. That's shorter than I would normally take. I can't remember. I think it was about 20 ticks. But that's normally than what I would be, shooting for. But I also know this is a fade, so I'm taking targets quicker. I'm covering. You see how quickly I brought it to break even. You can see how tight I'm, protecting levels, because I'm not, or in the back of my mind, we could easily bounce right in here, even right here. That would be perfect, right? If it just bounced right to there and then reclaim that low, and then it would push right up through the highs, which ultimately it's what it did. It just needed to test this VWAP again before it did it. So like I said, I just kept walking the stop down. Once we got close enough here, I went ahead and took it right there. Then on this next trade, this is just the last trade, and I had a bet with somebody that, that this wasn't going to fall apart, and we were going to, this was going to take us back to the 5,500 or 5,550. So that's the only reason I'm posting this trade. But you can see how basically that same idea I was talking about in that trade earlier, how we reclaimed that 38 level after dipping down into that. I could have bought that down in that dip actually. But as we reclaimed it, we got another retest of it. I entered there, and it was just, to me, it seemed obvious that they'd want to go back to the, if that was the level, the 5,550. This was the last trade that I took of the day, so I'm not even sure how we ended up, but I just had a feeling that they were going to want to test that 550 again, or 5,550, sorry. So I just kind of picked a number. I'm looking kind of at that low volume node. I wanted to front run the 550 enough just so, with only one contract, I didn't want to risk it getting all the way there and then fading back on me. Right there, it takes me out.